again, I've referenced this before. Does this outfit make my ass look fat? You could say, maybe not the most flattering. I like you much better than this.
Or, I really like your fat ass.
Or, I just love a fat ass.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and guests. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. This podcast also does not establish a standard of care, doctor-patient, or client relationship. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or website. And because each person is so unique, all listeners are encouraged to connect with counseling and medical professionals for assistance with their personal journey. All people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect the privacy of those involved.
Welcome to We're Not Fine. I'm Dr. Talia Jackson.
And I'm Doug Jensen. We thank you for listening every week to our deep and thought-provoking conversations about relationships.
Hi, Doug.
Hello, Talia. Today is a special day.
It is.
In the We're Not Fine podcast.
It is, you guys. It's our 50th episode anniversary.
50.
Can you believe that we're so young, yet we've recorded 50 episodes together?
Well, yes.
I feel like I've aged.
You know, it's very funny. I almost forgot that there's 52 weeks in the year because I'm like, we've done this a year, right? We've done this a year. And you're like, no, we have not.
I'd say
August.
that's a year.
It's close. And so we have to figure out like seasons as well and what that means.
Yeah.
But yes, it's 50.
Congratulations!
Congratulations to you. And thank you, all of you, for listening.
Especially
what an exciting day.
You.
It's
I have a present for you.
I have one too.
Mine's better.
Is it? Okay, I bet it is.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Where is it? Here it is.
Am I scared? Is it an animal? What is this?
What?
Oh, are you serious? We got some wine?
Do we?
Yeah, are we going to drink it right now?
Or have I re-gifted a box?
You've re-gifted because it's not heavy. You clever. Oh! Okay.
Merch!
Guess what I got for the 50th anniversary of the We're Not Fine podcast? Oh, you got one too?
Yes!
I love
And it's Pride Weekend, you guys.
It is Pride, and look at this. This is the Pride edition of WNF.
And
We're Not Fine.
Merch. I mean, have you always
this.
wanted merch? I'm going to wear mine.
I could not be more pleased. My gift to you is from my recent visit to Austin in the Spam Museum, where this lovely, lovely representative from the Spam Museum in Austin said, how many people... Austin, Minnesota, yes. I'm sorry, not Austin, Texas.
Yes.
So this is a Spam necklace from a representative from the Spam Museum who said, how many people on your team? And I said, I don't know, 7, 8, because we've added people.
We have.
And there's Spam in here. I don't even know in what form it is, but I think it's just like one piece.
You know what? I've never felt more special in my entire life.
I'd like you to wear this.
Whatever
I'm wear mine too.
love language this is, I'm in.
I think we are looking celebratory. And look at your earrings. They're like fans of excitement.
They are. Ding, ding, ding.
I love them. I didn't wear my earrings.
That's too bad.
Because I don't wear earrings.
I
Okay.
could totally picture you with like one big diamond stud, because that's what you are.
I'm a big diamond stud. Okay.
So.
Are you feeling like we've done 50 or does it feel like yesterday?
It feels both like yesterday and
like
like
forever.
20 years.
You know what kind of weirds
Right?
me out is that people talk about like a 10-year or 20-year podcast and we're barely one.
Yeah.
So bear with us. We've got decades to go.
We do.
Yep.
And we're mostly having the time of our lives.
Mostly. There's been some bumps, but we are now over some humps.
We're bumps and humps, and we're resilient.
We have some crazy, crazy supportive people. We have a social media person. We have an editor. We have 2 AV guys who do our sound and cameras, which we're still working on a little bit. But yeah.
Just a little bit. Are you going to be like that the whole time?
Is this distracting?
Yeah. I feel like I want you to commit.
Too legit to quit.
You can step off the camera and then come back fully
I'm going to put this right here for
clothed.
now so that there's some reference to it because I love this purple.
Fine.
Because we are actually recording this on Pride Sunday.
We are.
in the Twin
It's
Cities.
true.
So I kind of want to wear purple to represent with my green dinosaur.
I mean, it does look fabulous. I don't
Thank you.
disagree.
Well, and look at all this rainbow color on here.
And look at
In
all
celebration
of the
of diversity.
spam, because I was feeling a little snackish. So maybe...
You just have to open it up. and like start eating it. There's a tear here. It
I
puts
don't
it on
think, I think this is a very unique gift.
a...
Although not as
I'm
unique
so glad
as
you loved it.
my merch gift.
It is not.
Although, if anybody wants merch, did you know that our website, we'renotfine.com, you can buy merch? And it was my first experience buying merch. You're my first recipient of merch.
Oh, thank you.
And so I got us matching t-shirts.
I love
that. You can just like click on, I don't know, is it like Spreadshop, something?
There's a person with a sweatshirt on in our website.
Yeah.
And I think you click
on that.
To the merch.
And do you know that
No.
it's actually really soft? I feel like it's like really good quality. And I've been around and I've seen a t-shirt or two, and you know, some are kind of hard and scrapey and they don't cling to your curves. And
no,
this
that's
one's
right.
really
I agree with that.
This one's working for me.
I think it's looking great. You look fantastic in those colors and black.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So today,
Yeah.
in lieu of our is that the right
Inlay.
way to inlay of our anniversary edition, we are going to talk about anniversaries. Basically, we've got 2 mailbags of like deep disappointment for
I love
anniversary
those issues.
gifts.
Yep.
And then we're going to pivot and we're going to talk about, what do you do if you're disappointed? Like, none of us are disappointment proof. We have to take care of ourselves and figure out how to best handle disappointment. And then the very last little part is how to not suck at giving gifts. Like, how to be a better gift giver.
Yeah.
Because some of us, me especially, if you're a 7 in the Enneagram, I don't know, some are better than me. Some of us are just not that thoughtful, even though we're very loving and we love people so much. Some of us are like, oh crap, the most important date in the history of the universe is in 3 days.
Yeah.
What do I do about it? So we're going to help you.
It's interesting when you talk just generally about gift giving. So I actually pay attention to my kids and my best friends.
That's awesome.
Like, I pay attention to everything they say, and I make lists throughout the year, and I start making purchases throughout the year.
Damn it, Doug.
What?
You're stealing my thunder. That's literally number whatever. That's exactly what you're supposed to do, and I just learned that, and I'm going to start doing it.
It's really easy. So if I even have a new person in my life who I know I'm going to be really, really close to, I start making a list.
I'm rolling my eyes because it's like someone neurotypical being like, oh, it's so easy. Why don't you just take this 5-step, course to being a better person? I know.
Yeah, I'm going to take this off. Thank you so much for these from the Spam Museum.
Yes, thank you.
I will tell you, yes, but I also, like, I have a relatively new person in my life, and I just started writing down everything that he said he wanted to do in the future. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a big list.
I can't even
So I got a list.
Who would ever think about that?
I would.
Oh my God.
Because it makes it easy. And my kids, as I probably referenced on an earlier podcast, my kids make lists probably in September or October of everything they want for Christmas, because I do not want to get them.
Too.
Yeah, I know.
I've got different sitches in my family.
Yeah.
We need like 20 alerts and alarms and verbal reminders and did you remember, and like there needs to be a lot of action behind the scenes around an event.
So when we get into anniversary gifts, same applies. We're going to talk about paying attention.
We're gonna. All right.
But let's get to our first of 2 mailbags.
Mailbag.
Yep.
Number 1.
Yep.
This is Jacob, and he's 25.
Oh.
And he's saying 1 year anniversary disappointment.
1 year?
Yep, 1 year. So Jacob is dating a 21-year-old woman. It's been 1 year. He says, in the beginning, as it usually goes, it was great. This was the first relationship where I was getting reciprocated for my efforts. She would randomly get me things I like, drop compliments, always wanted to talk and chat, and she was putting in a lot of effort. And I honestly had never received that before, so it finally made me feel like someone met my energy. That's a cute way to
I love
say
that.
it.
Yep, I agree with that.
I started noticing a difference in her effort after the first time that we slept together.
Ooh, okay.
We didn't sleep together until our 4th month of dating, simply due to me, my ideals, and my sexuality. I thought her holding out for me was hopeful, but it took a turn for the worse. With that said, this past weekend we had our 1-year anniversary. I booked us a trip away for a 5-day retreat. I paid for all the meals. I got her something she's been wanting for herself for months. I planned out the whole vacation. I wanted to make it special for us. Now, here's my issue. I'm not a greedy man. I don't ask for a lot. My main thing is consistency.
Yeah.
I've been the same since day one, and she's changed. Not only did I not receive even a card, but I didn't get a present of any kind. She said she was going to get me something, but when I handed her my present, I had to hide the pain in my heart that I knew I was getting nothing. This was several days before we actually went away.
Okay.
Now, I had hopes that things would change when we got away. On the day of our anniversary, we went out to do some activities. She got dressed up, went out for dinner, and then when we returned to our hotel, she ran into the bedroom and told me not to come in. I waited until she came out sporting a lingerie gown and outfit.
Okay.
I was stunned in a multitude of ways, and what she said next really stabbed me through the heart.
Uh-oh.
She looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "Now, are you going to open your present?" She said, "Now, are you going to open your present?" Like that.
Can you say it again so I understand the tenor of the comment?
This was my present, apparently. Her. She didn't spend a dime on me, didn't make me anything, didn't even hand me a card. As I said earlier, this was it. I've been playing it cool since we've gotten back home, but it's just been eating me up inside. I feel used, disregarded, unattractive, not appreciated. I don't even know what to say anymore, considering all she keeps talking about is our next adventure, and I'm just caught in my head on figuring out what to do. Can you give me some advice on my next move? I feel like a beaten dog right now.
Oh, boy. I will tell you my first instinct is that I'm a little confused. Because when he said that, like, she dolled herself up in a sexy lingerie, I was like, I think that's the perfect gift for some people.
I know.
So his love language is not getting met is what I think.
That's right.
You
And
know?
and he might not have the awareness to know
Yep.
that his love language is gifts, maybe, and he had a very specific idea of how to feel loved.
Yeah. But it was a tangible thing for him.
Yeah.
Instead of for her, which I actually was like, oh man, that's amazing.
That's really
like
cute.
I had an immediate response of like, I know. If it was a dude in some really sexy something and like came out and said, unwrap me, I'm like, that is my gift, because I don't want tangible gifts. I don't want more shit in my life.
This
right?
is what's so complicated is this conversation is not a one size fits all.
It's not, of course.
It is
Absolutely.
really kind of about love languages and about expectations. So I feel like for our guy, Jacob, he had these expectations because of the effort that he put in. He did everything in his power to make her feel special, and he put in time, energy, effort, money, all of the things, because I think that's how he wanted to be treated. That was
I think so too. I mean,
language.
he kind of gave her what his love language is, and yet at the same time, I would say I thought that was very thoughtful of her. I found her, she probably needed to buy the lingerie, by the way, Jacob, and I'm not trying to argue with you, because if that was not the gift that you wanted and you did not feel necessarily seen or heard or like that it hit the target, I get it. I was a little bit struck by the dramatic heartbroken comment or stabbed or something like that. Like, because I can imagine, Jacob, as we're talking about this, I can imagine that you're able to see, okay, I can see why that is a gift. It is a very personal gift. Like, she's offering you her body, by the way, to probably unwrap. And I don't know where she was thinking that would go, but boy, if someone said, do anything to me you want, and, or I'll do anything to you you want, I just think there's a real nice gift in that.
Yeah.
So I kind of love it. It's very romantic to me.
Unless for him,
Yeah.
he feels like that was bare minimum effort and something he would have gotten anyway, and it doesn't show deeply thought out, intentional.
I agree with that. There's another piece to this, and I could have misunderstood this, but I don't think I did. He said something about they had sex on their 4th month, and then something changed.
Yeah, she was putting in less effort.
So it's kind of an interesting thing to me that he was maybe also connecting and associating sex to something that wasn't great in their relationship. So maybe her dressing up and being sexual in this particular context was not as
that's-
meaningful because it wasn't like this hot, steamy BDSM, bondage, discipline, sadomasochistic type of experience, like whatever they're into, right? And if there was a fetish or if there was a kink or if there was something that they were into, and it was a
there's
really
some
great
negative association.
I think there's a negative association there. And so I would say, Jacob, of course, I'm going to tell you what I would tell anybody in this situation. Of course, it's going to be important for you to let her know how you feel, let her know what your experience is. I think in the future, having some clear expectations on what it is that means something to you and what doesn't. However, I would be very, very careful not to criticize her effort
Yes.
because I found that really, I actually was very struck again. I had just a moment like, oh, there it is. What an amazing gift.
Right.
Like better than a, whatever he gave her. I don't remember what it was, a vase or something. I don't
The whole trip, I think.
Oh,
But
I
don't
got
even
you.
remember
Okay,
what
I got you.
I know. So I was also
don't-
thinking.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know her financial situation
Right.
because there's another piece of this. Like, I think to expect something to cost money, I'm assuming based on how you describe her, she's 21 though. 21 is a tough time to have a great deal of cash. So you're just beginning your career. You might just have graduated from college. So I don't know the circumstances financially either.
Right.
I just think we have to be very careful. And I will tell you at my age, again, I don't want something. I want something like intangible. I would love a trip. I would love all of those things. I don't want more stuff.
But this is also love language
Yes,
specific.
that is correct.
So
I agree.
I am thinking, Doug, you're 100% right. No matter how you decide to talk to her about your disappointment, I would very much recommend that you go into it owning.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I had set these expectations and I found myself so disappointed, not because you didn't give me something beautiful, but because it just didn't match this picture I had in my head. So I'm owning that disappointment. And what I realized is that I really do need to be handed something. I don't care how much it costs, but I need to be shown some sort of effort.
Yeah.
He did also say that she used to show a lot more effort and give him thoughtful gifts. So maybe it's also just noticing the decline.
Yeah, there
in
might
the
be a
effort.
specific change in those behaviors. I want to say something, Jacob, as well. And, I oftentimes when I work with my clients, I give them scripts, and I think it's really important to have something kind of organized in your head and in your circumstance to be able to say something to her. And I think it might look a little bit like, so I kind of want to talk about gifts. By the way, I'm going to stop and go back a little bit. Jacob, I think one of the things that you need to do is talk about that change that you noticed after you started having sex.
That's important.
Like, I think you kind of check it out and you say, so I just want to check in with you. It feels like something changed. I don't want to be paranoid. I don't know if that's true or not, but has something changed since we had sex? Was it not what you wanted it to be? Was it good? Was it what? So have an honest dialogue about what your sexual relationship with is, which I recognize is tough for people, especially at a young age when you don't know yourself or your body maybe, or you haven't explored a lot sexually. It can be hard to do. But I think there's a part, Jacob, where I would absolutely encourage you to address that issue first, because I think that's connected again to her gift of sex, which I think is a gift of sex. But let's go to scripts for a second. So I would say, so let's, and when you two are in a good place and you're not, struggling and you're not bringing it out in anger or intensity, if you can say, so I kind of want to talk about the gifts we gave each other. And I would say, and talk about love languages. Mm-hmm. So what means something to me is that you have put some thought into getting me something. You get to say that. Gifts are a love language.
Yeah.
And she could say, you know what, I honestly thought just giving of myself, given that and she might be, by the way, thinking, because our sex life has not been great, I wanted to spice it up a little bit with some sexy lingerie. Like, I think that's, I got to tell you, I feel like that's in here somewhere. I think it was a really nice effort. So I might say, check it out. Make sure you don't misunderstand what's going on. Try not to feel stabbed until you kind of know what the underlying reasons for the decision making are. Because I think it's really important to understand where she's coming from, and to make assumptions that she wasn't thoughtful, to make assumptions that it wasn't important, to make assumptions that it was kind of a minimal effort, I don't think would be accurate.
Right. So to show up kind of owning that the disappointments are yours and that maybe you weren't explicit enough.
I totally agree.
Jacob, but honestly, no shame. I'm so grateful. Thank you for writing in, and I completely get it. And this is just a different way of looking at it to hopefully have a conversation that she can hear you and meet your needs rather than you assuming that it's over and she is really phoning it in.
So, and the only other thing I would say, again, you are young and this is the first anniversary, so a great opportunity to just kind of set, again, some clarity on all of that. But there's something and like Talia just said about like, getting rid of your shame and having an honest conversation about those feelings, that's part of working through this. Like you have to take a moment and think, what do I feel about this? What's going on with this for me? So I applaud you for that. I think that's good work, Jason. Jacob. Anyway.
Big J.
It's Jacob.
Yeah, it is.
Talia, we have a second mailbag.
Ooh.
Similar to the same thing.
Except coming from a different perspective.
Coming from a little different angle.
The disappointer and not the disappointee.
My boyfriend, I'm going to call him Chip, who is 22. Disappointment from the 1-year anniversary gift from Dahlia. I'm going to say.
Also a 1-year
anniversary. So the boyfriend was disappointed with, and by the way, Chip and Dahlia comes from Chip and Dale the Chipmunks. I just kind of made those up.
Oh, Chip and Dale the Chipmunks, not Chip and Dale the naked strippers. Got it.
Oh,
never thought of that.
Can I just say, I just want to reference something. One of my clients was so sweet about Pride that she brought me and gave me a gift of an original Chip and Dale cup.
Okay, that's adorable.
It was adorable. It is sitting in my cupboard at home. And every once in a while, one of my guests will be using it. I'm like, there's a bikinied male on that. I loved it. Thank you. And I'm sure you're watching or listening. So thank you for that. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. It was adorable.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
I'm really
it had
thoughtful.
little hearts on it of different colors, kind of rainbow colors. So anyway, my boyfriend and I's 1st-year anniversary is coming up soon. I gave him a gift, a watch that he showed me about a month ago. And the specific one he showed me was not battery-based or their movement wasn't quartz. I forgot that detail about the watches he showed me, and I ended up buying one that was a battery-based watch, but still a nice-looking one that I got his full name engraved on the back. I ended up telling him about it because he was showing me what shoes he was going to buy me. The one that I ended up buying was not necessarily the one he wanted, so he looked a little disappointed when he found out it was battery-based, and at the time of buying it, I wasn't aware that it was battery-based. We're saying battery-based a lot in this particular mailbag. I felt bad that he wouldn't like it as much, and I was really excited to give him this gift. I ended up getting upset and crying. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. Then he told me he didn't want the gift.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Oh. Then he told me he didn't not want the gift. That's a double negative.
Okay.
And he was sorry if he looked disappointed in the choice of the watch. My mistake. And he ended the call. He tried calling back. I picked up a second time he called, and I apologized for getting him upset. I still feel like he shouldn't have shown that he was disappointed in the watch being battery, as it's still an expensive watch, as it's a gift, and I did put some thought into it, like getting his full name engraved on the back. Should I not have been emotional and cried over this in front of him? There's a clear answer to that. Yeah. Of course you should express your feelings.
Feel what you feel.
Or should he not have been asking for specifics over a gift that I chose to buy and put some thought into?
Oh.
Goodness sakes alive.
But also, he was disappointed, but I don't think he tried to show his disappointment. I think he just couldn't hide his disappointment. I don't think he was trying to make her feel bad, but also it's really what a sad situation. I mean...
Well, have you ever, opened a gift, right? And you're like, oh... it wasn't what you thought it was, like a We're Not Fine t-shirt. I was so excited to get.
Are you effing kidding me right now? Just kidding.
I love it.
But also, maybe this is what's different. I don't really expect anyone to get me a great gift that I'm going to love.
Oh, that's interesting.
I get myself what I really want. And if somebody nails it, they nail it.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's so wonderful. It's so thoughtful. I can't believe. But it's I don't know. My experience for the most part is oh, thanks. But
that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I have absolutely, probably in childhood more. For Father's Day, I got my favorite skincare item from Aesop, this amazing serum.
But did you ask for it?
I got it once from my older daughter in LA.
And that was a home run.
It was a freaking home run.
Yeah.
I literally put this parsley seed, I'm endorsing a product, I apologize. This parsley seed serum, I put it on my face, I'm like, oh my God, the smell is great, the text, the moisturizing component is nice. The liquid feel is absolutely right on. So I got 2 of them for my Father's Day gift, and I cannot wait to travel with them and whatnot. So it's a home run. My kids know exactly, because we're really good in my family of saying, this is exactly what I want.
Yes, me
Right?
too.
I know.
That's what I started doing, is saying exactly what I want so that I get exactly what I want. Because I don't know, I'm not that thoughtful of a gift giver usually.
I'm definitely thoughtful.
But I love your ideas that we're
know.
going to get to. I'm learning
know.
a lot about it. I sort of am just like flying by the seat of my pants, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, 3 days. I've got to like figure something out. But this took 7 days. I was 7 days ahead in this shirt that I got you.
Thank you so much. Really nice work.
But I feel like getting a home run is pretty rare.
Well, and let me point out that if my kids had gotten me a different serum,
Yeah, that's right.
this
Not
sounds so
parsley
weirdly
seed,
pretentious, but
but-
not the Aesop. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the name.
Schmaesop.
Schmaesop parsley
right.
seed, schmarsley seed. If they had not gotten me the one and they got me some other brand of serum for skincare, I would be like, okay, I don't know that I want this, because I'm very particular about what I put on my
But
face.
what would you
Not
say?
that it shows, but I would probably say, okay, so I don't know that I like this product.
No, you would not.
I would.
I would
I would.
never do that.
My kids are adults, 21 and 34.
I would never do it.
I would. I remember, and their mother and I can be really honest with each other too. And, we might secretly say, if you don't like it, just go ahead and return it. I'll help you or whatever.
I do appreciate when people
Absolutely.
say
I think it's good. I'm very particular about what I want in my life at this point. I don't want a lot. I'm very particular about what I put on my face. And so I think there's an element here of like, if you're clear on what the thing is. So here's the deal. And this is what I would say about this particular mail bag is that, Talia, Chip was very clear with you on which watch he wanted. And I couldn't quite figure out quartz and battery and all that sort of thing. Like if he
Right.
showed you the specific watch, was
Right.
this the same watch in a battery form? I'm not even sure, because there is a small part of me that thinks maybe you did get the wrong item. And so it's okay to say, oh my God, I realize now I got the battery operated non-quartz option or whatever it is. I honestly don't know.
Or
what that
I
would be.
didn't register when you were telling me that there were 2 different kinds. Like, I'm so sorry. Let me find out if I can.
Return or exchange. And I'll tell you very honestly, that would be my response if I were in your shoes. I'd be like, and I'm not telling you not to have your feelings as they were. I can tell that there's something maybe in the dynamic with the 2 of you where, you didn't want to disappoint him. Tears are absolutely fine. You can cry as much as you want. It's your party and you can cry if you want to.
That's right.
So that's an old song, probably before your time.
Cyndi Lauper.
It's my party. No,
And
it's
I'll
not
cry
that.
if I want to.
I don't think that's Cyndi Lauper.
Of course it is.
No, it's not.
You guys.
No, it's not. It's like Connie Francis or something.
That's not even a person.
We're going to look this up while we have this
It
podcast.
is literally Cyndi Lauper. I was roller skating.
Girls just want to have fun? Is that what you're thinking about?
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, it's like
My
Connie
party,
Francis.
I'll
Anyway,
cry.
so what I would say about this is there's nothing wrong with your experience and your emotions about this, but I would also say that it may be important to just kind of really say, because honestly, if it was me, I would probably say, oh my God, I totally missed the boat. Let's take it back, get the one you want. And if the person that I gave it to said, no, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of past that time in my life where it's taking care of other people or not getting what you want. Like, I don't see any point to living that way. Like, he should get what he wants. And so I do think he should take the watch back, by the way. But it's okay to be disappointed and to talk about those feelings. Like, of course, we encourage feelings expression in whatever way it takes. So when you ask that question, like, should I not cry? Should I not have been disappointed? Of course you can. Of course you should. You should be honest. This is, by the way, just pushing this forward in your relationship. This is about how you two communicate during these difficult things. You really want to be able to talk about anything and everything in this relationship. And so communication becomes key to say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I didn't get the right one. I'm getting a little teary about this. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm disappointed that I disappointed you. Absolutely. And then he can say, I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I would hope that he's able to say, can we return it for the one that I really want? Because I'd feel better wearing the watch that I really want.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Even my Hermes Apple Watch, like I wanted the specific watch, right?
I bet you did.
I did. And my serum and all those sorts of
My
things.
Trader Joe's Apple Watch. Just kidding.
Your battery operated Trader Joe's. It's
not a thing.
But I don't buy a lot anymore. I like what I like. And so I buy what I really want at this point in my life.
Which is
Not
why
a
you
lot.
need to be explicit when you're asking for something.
I am a totally explicit person. By the way, this was a gift for my birthday, I think, from my kids.
Nailed it.
I know!
This is a perfect segue into the next part of this
Is
episode,
it?
which is you're disappointed. Now, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle disappointment? Because sometimes you're just disappointed.
Yep, that's fair.
So, number one, this is also this little cute thing that I printed off. It's from Psychology Today, which I actually find a lot of really juicy, good stuff on there. It's a really good resource for people. No one's sponsoring me, but it's where I turn to find some stuff sometimes.
I don't.
That doesn't surprise me.
Because
you've never even heard a podcast.
don't.
Like, I feel like you're, not
is a
looking for
podcast?
resources outside. So, number one, allow your feelings, meaning, of course, feel your feelings. Don't ask yourself, should I or shouldn't I be disappointed? If you're disappointed, you're disappointed.
Correct.
Own it.
Yep.
You can ask yourself, am I disappointed at a 10 when this might be a 2 crime? Like 10 out of 10 when the actual offense is just like a 1 or a 2 or a 3. But don't stuff it down. Just sit in it.
Absolutely. And that's the feeling part of this. And then there's the more need part of this.
That's right.
So thoughts and feelings, wants and needs, I see those as two kind of separate categories. So it's really important to identify what your feelings are. It's really important to express those clearly and honestly. But it's also equally important to figure out, like, what do I really need from this? What would I have needed different? What would I want differently about this circumstance? And wants and needs are kind of a tricky thing because I think there's a lot of things that we do need, like food and shelter and water and safety and all those sorts of things. And yet Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But I also think that on the same token, there's a lot of things that we might want. I want this watch. I want the specific serum that I put on my face. So I think at the end of the day, it's important to identify the difference between wants and needs. But in this situation, I'm going to say that a watch is one of those things. I'm going to go back to the specific example. A watch is one of those things that you do. I wear mine every day. And so I want the watch that I want.
That's right.
And so, in terms of the need thing, like, examine what it is you need. And I would say be very clear on that. It goes back to communication. It is okay to have wants and needs. And it's okay in a relationship to get what you want and need from it.
That's right.
You don't always get it. The person may be unable to give it. The person may be unwilling to give it. But all you can do is ask and then kind of navigate, like, is this a deal breaker for me? Like, can this person not give me what I need? And now we're generalizing not just to gifts, but we're also talking about the other things in a relationship, like
empathy, partnership,
physical satisfaction,
Yeah.
All of those things that we talk about regularly. It's really an important thing to decide, like, what can I tolerate? What
That's
is my okay level of, like, accepting
crucial.
What this, crucial. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next piece is take care of yourself. So if you kind of feel like you're somebody who maybe walks around in the world feeling like a half of a whole, desperately wanting somebody to meet all of these needs that you're not even aware of, or expecting your partner to be all things to you.
And a mind reader.
Right. Is there a way that you can think about some of these needs, if it's just like a biking partner or someone to go and try delicious food with, see these movies with, or I don't know, travel, whatever it is that you feel like I need partnership in this specific way, or I need comfort, or I need support. Like, of course you need all of those things from your partner, but is there a way that you could start filling up that empty bucket from within first? Like, can you learn how to comfort yourself, self-soothe, take a warm bath, like read, calm your nervous system down? Can you maybe reach out to some friends that you have, or a parent or a family, whatever? Can you reach out to somebody who you already know might be into the same things that you're into? So maybe your partner will never do a yoga class with you. And that is a really great disappointment. But can you maybe find someone else who would love to? And can that scratch that itch a little bit?
And I want to talk a little bit more about the emotional part of that too. Like, when you are feeling betrayal, or you're feeling fear, or you're feeling uncertainty, or you're feeling anxiety about like what to do next with this particular situation, it's really important to take care of yourself. Betrayal is a tough one. Like when you have a chronic experience of betrayal over and over and over, it's really tough. Like for me, all of my pain kind of sits in my abdomen area. I don't eat well. I don't eat much at all. I lose some weight if I'm really, really stressed out about something interpersonally in my life. And what I have to remember is I have to go for walks. I have to do the treadmill. I have to lift weights. I have to do everything I can to stay in my routine to take good care of myself. I may not have an appetite, but as Talia just had me eat some sushi before this appointment.
I did. I just shove it in your face.
You kind of did shove it in my face, but I liked it.
I wasn't like, it was kind of tough love.
It was tough love. Like, you are going to eat this.
I do that to my little one and he hates it.
I'm not a little one. So I kind of like it. I kind of like that dynamic between us.
Force feeding you like a foie gras.
And I might say,
goose.
And let me tell you, I mean, having people around you that love you and care about you and nurture you like yourself to me and vice versa. Yep. Happy 50th.
Happy 50th.
I would say that without question, that's the important part of it. That emotional part is more difficult, I think, because it's really hard when you have that gut pain that goes on for you, like how to manage that. And I will always tell people, I always tell people, in terms of taking care of yourself, if you're having pain, if you're feeling like, you haven't been able to resolve it and express what it is you want and need and your thoughts and feelings effectively, and the person hasn't responded, which I'm going to get into next. I would say that I always tell people, like, lay on the bed, feel where that discomfort is, feel where that pain is, and know that it will eventually go away. It will not sustain. There's no way to experience that sort of grief, loss, pain, discomfort, anxiety, anger, whatever the rage.
Right. Let it be a wave that washes over you, because if you do stuff it down or deny it or push it away, it gets stuck in your nervous system. Like, you have to move through.
It gets stuck in your nervous system. I would also say that, again, the long-term ramifications of that stress are not good in any way, shape, or form. We want our bodies to be as calm as they can to fight off illness, to fight off, some of the depressiveness and anxiety that can emerge from a mental health point of view. So it kind of brings up the next, recommendation on how to manage some of this betrayal or disappointment, and that's to decide whether to speak up. I've been in situations, I think most of us have, where we let somebody know what we're thinking and they get defensive or angry or blame us, or they can't accept that because they feel shame that they made us feel that way. I think that's the majority of times what I think people feel. And I always tell people, if there's a defensive, response to something, know that comes from a place, again, of shame or hurt or whatever it is. And that person does not have the skills yet to be able to say what that felt like to them. Like, a great response would be to say, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. Let's figure out what to do with this. This was my decision making about that watch. I'm going to go back to that. I think I made an error, so let's fix it. Mm-hmm. Like a calm, sort of responsive element would be really, really great. But there are times, and I've encountered these people as well, like people just cannot resolve that. They're so stuck in their own defensiveness or, history of being shown ways that, were not effective in terms of communication, and maybe just can't do it. And you have to decide, like, how many times are you willing to put yourself out there? And at what point do you just say, this is not working?
That's right.
This is not either a good partner for me. This is not a good friend for me. This is, not something that works. And I think we all have to make those decisions, because living with this sort of chronic, and I have so many people who have chronic family or friend situations that are always kind of rotten. Like, there's just no trust. People walk on eggshells around those people, because they haven't gotten the response that they need. And I really strongly encourage people, is that the best person to have in your life? There's a lot of people for everybody. And it's okay to walk away from a situation that is chronically and pervasively an issue. It's tough, though, to make that decision.
It really is. And I think about just, expectations in general. Just, it's important to also pay attention to your expectations. Like, on the one hand, if there is someone that is in a chronic state of just always disappointing you,
like I'm doing right now,
always turning the page prematurely, I'll hold this, that if it's someone that's always disappointing you, then maybe you need to pay attention to what is it about you that you keep on hoping for a different response this time.
I know.
It's so sad.
It's like, there's that proverbial sort of like, what is the meaning of, or definition of insanity when you keep, hoping for a different expectation by trying the same thing over and over.
That's right.
Not a great, effective strategy.
But on the other hand, like looking at your own expectations, are my expectations even reasonable? Am I expecting something from a person that maybe like just had a recent loss or just had a baby or is totally overwhelmed or is not sleeping and has very low reserves of coping and patience.
When your co-host tries to turn the page.
Twitch. That's right. Stop trying to turn the page all the time.
I'm ready to turn the page, sister.
Yeah, that's that's it. Examine your expectations. How much of it is you? Maybe your expectations are too high. And in that case, own your expectations. Just like Chip needs to own that he was expecting something very certain, very specific, as was Jacob.
Yeah,
and they need to own that. And then think about how you can approach that with somebody that you love in a way that is not offensive or incredibly reactive because yes, you can absolutely be disappointed, but if the way that you express disappointment is by shaming someone, then you are probably not going to get your needs met. Hey, I turned the page.
You needed control of the paper?
I'll hold that for you.
Okay, that's great. The only thing I want to say, like I'm kind of a stickler on not accepting mediocrity in our lives. I think we should have high expectations, especially if you're capable of providing them. So I think if you're always kind of excelling in the, I'm going to say gift-giving category, and that person always falls short, I would say that the relationship needs some balance at some point. Like hopefully that person does something really, really great that you don't. Or you find that medium place where I would not encourage you to constantly be disappointed. It just doesn't work that way. So expectations are tricky because I think people should have high standards, high expectations on themselves and others. I think it's the best way to live.
If they're reasonable. I think this might be where the two of us with your very strong 8 and my 7, like Enneagram
references,
like
is that what you're doing?
The challenger versus the enthusiast. So like authenticity at all costs from Doug, harmony at all costs from me, right?
That actually almost makes me spit out my drink.
Right, in which like healthy us, we're meeting in the middle, but I feel like I want healthy you would meet at harmony a little bit. It could not hurt
like
someone's
when you
feelings.
decided you did not want to turn this and then I let you take control of the turning of the page.
That's right. Yep. That was compromise.
I know. I'm pretty good at it.
It was so good. But the idea is that maybe I don't have as high expectations because I'm afraid of being disappointed and then having to have a hard conversation, right? Which I'm working on. But then
yes, you are.
Don't care maybe as much if you hurt someone's feelings because your needs are your needs and I am what I am and I have to be authentic.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
That's right.
This is what I would say about that. I'm not callous about like hurting other people's feelings. But I believe in direct and authentic and honest and transparent communication, always. Right. There's always a nice way of saying something.
That's right. I do believe in that. I believe there's
always.
Okay, I believe
respectful
almost
regarding.
Always.
I would say always, always, always. I can come up with some example. Like, again, I've referenced this before. Does this outfit make my ass look fat? You could say, maybe not the most flattering. I like you much better than this.
Or, I really like your fat ass.
Or, I just love a fat ass. And that is probably not the answer that person's looking for because they're concerned about their fat ass. So the last part, which is also a little tricky and kind of brings up some sadness for me because sometimes when you repeatedly kind of let people know that you're disappointed or you feel betrayed or you feel like you're not getting what you need in a situation, even like as simple as gift giving, like again, if you let her know, the guy, with the lingerie, if you let them know, or the guy with the watch, like if you let them know, so I'm good with this. We can return this, but it is a learning opportunity. But if Talia keeps getting the wrong watch or the wrong whatever,
then maybe she has ADHD, Doug.
I was going to say that excuse of ADHD gets really tiring. I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
Explanation.
Okay, explanation. Okay. So here's the deal. It is funny. I work with a couple where there's some ADHD going on, and he literally gets to the store to buy her gift, which his wife's gift, which is specific. Like she will be like, this is exactly the cologne that I want. And he will pick the wrong one every time.
Okay, I don't know what to say about that. Either he actually secretly hates her.
No.
His ADHD meds wore off.
Yes.
All right.
Common.
Then it's not
common.
love. It is common.
But here's the deal.
But then write it down for yourself, people. Right?
Well, aren't you Miss ADHD coaching?
Well, I'm
that
learning.
is the deal, right?
You live and you learn.
I know.
You live and you learn.
So here's the deal about this, though. I'm going to talk about boundaries. Like at some point, if there's a chronic, and repeated and recurrent situation where you're disappointed or you feel betrayed, I 100% encourage you to consider setting some boundaries. And unfortunately, that boundary might range from not having expectations in the same way, deciding not to do gifts because it's disappointing each time, or it might be leaving the relationship, or it might be setting, and I'm not a big ultimatum person because I think it's really threatening for people to do that. Oftentimes, if that person is a recurrent violator of your wants and needs, I think that person is very unlikely to take an ultimatum well. But I think being clear on that and at some point deciding this friendship, this relationship is not working for me because I am chronically disappointed and recurrently disappointed, it might be time to set a boundary and either put that person in a different category. I always tell people I've got this circle that I always give. And I always tell people, like, there's an inner circle here. So if you're in my circle, which you are, there's 100% trust. There is so much unconditional love and regard and support that kind of builds into that. And then if you're outside of that circle, that's a tougher place for me. I don't do that well outside of my circle because I have tremendous people in my circle. After all of these years, I've developed these amazingly trusting relationships. I just had this conversation with a friend and I said, you're not in my circle anymore because of such repeated disappointment. And so while that can come off as really hurtful, it's an opportunity to, let somebody know how you're experiencing the relationship.
And that's a boundary.
It's a boundary.
It's not supposed to be friendly.
It's not. And yet it's about asking for what you need. And
that's right.
Who knows? People respond different ways to that. So that boundary is really important to present as well and to be very clear on what it is that you're talking about, what it is you need different, going back to everything we talked about.
But also being very clear, having done the work to find out if this person is actually a violator, a chronic disappointer, or if they're just not capable but really well-meaning but maybe need some ADHD meds. As long as you're making sure that you're checking yourself and these are not, your expectations are way too high, but that this person is actually like not that interested in meeting yours, then boundary. Which brings us to the final part of our episode today, which is about how to be a better gift giver, which Doug could train us all clearly. He's like, why don't you just make a list for everyone close to you? And that's literally one of the things on here. And I was like, what? Blew my mind. We're going to get there. The first one. I feel like this one's actually a really important one.
It is.
Do you want to be a good gift giver? Learn the person's love language. Figure it out. If it is acts of service, maybe the nicest thing that you could do for them is something that is going to make their lives easier, like, fill up their gas tank, a gift card, make them a lifetime supply of sandwiches and freeze. I don't know, whatever. Don't listen to me.
Unless they're gluten-free.
Then don't make gluten-free sandwiches.
Yep.
Figure out the way that they prefer to receive love.
Yep. For sure.
And usually the way that you find that out, if you can't pin them down and have them actually read the book, it's the way that they're treating you. So acts of service, there's gifts, there is words of affirmation. Oh my gosh, some people, they literally, the only way that they feel loved and beautiful is if you look at them and you're like, oh my God, you look so beautiful today, or I'm so proud of you, congratulations. That, I really admire you, and you might not need it, but they do.
Well, and it's interesting because, one of the things you and I talk about a lot is that all I need from anyone in my life is honesty and open communication, and I can handle anything at that point.
We're adding that as a sixth love language.
We need to add that as a sixth love language, transparent communication. It is like gold for me. I feel entirely connected to people who tell me the truth. I know when they're not because of, all kinds of reasons, but, And that comes to my background. It comes how I grew up. And so I know what I'm looking for in terms of trust and rapport. And when people do not give me that, or they're hedging around what they want to say, I'm horrified. It just doesn't work well.
That's right. And physical touch.
Yeah, for sure.
And
rub my feet, rub my shoulders, rub my head.
Yeah.
I am in heaven.
Why am I forgetting the fifth one? Oh,
affirmation,
experience, like a
service,
quality time.
Service, I don't know what you referenced. I forgot.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, that's because you don't love me. I'm just kidding. Okay, we did get them all in there somewhere. Yeah. Words of affirmation. Yep. Gifts.
Acts of service.
Quality time, and physical.
Let's get physical. Jinx, Olivia Newton-John.
Oh my God, Cyndi Lauper.
No, you keep saying Cyndi Lauper. True Colors, that's not it. So love language is good. But the other thing is, and I just want to say, and this is kind of what it is that I probably pride myself on most. And honestly, so I have a fairly new friend in my life. And over the course of like 2 years, which is the duration of our relationship, I've taken notes on every single thing he has referenced. So I have this list of things under his name in my notes on my phone, like everything I would buy him for a gift as his birthday or Christmas and anything like that.
Under his contact information?
No, in my notes.
You have like files, like a file cabinet?
I have a file. So like it's probably called gifts. And so I have my kids and I pay attention every time they tell me something. My friends.
Does it have like a photo and measurements?
No, it just has their name.
I'm just trying to make it creepy.
Okay, clothes, I do not. I do not buy clothes for people. So
I think it's brilliant. I've never considered that. Like, didn't know people had that kind of executive functioning.
Like I listen and then it goes in my phone like within a minute. Like while I'm talking with them, I'll write, like for example, I wrote kayak. That's one of the gifts that I will probably...
Get me?
No. You have not referenced that, plus you already have a kayak.
Well...
Not a very nice one?
No, I feel great about my kayak.
But I know dude wants a kayak, and I'm like, I'm going to buy him a kayak for his birthday.
Okay, that's a little bit of like a above and beyond.
But I believe, as you know, that people should get what they really want in their life.
I would say
reference diamonds, reference...
Okay.
Whatever you want for me, and I will pay note. I will take out my phone right now.
I would really enjoy a villa in Tuscany.
Okay, let me write that down. I'm actually,
under Talia Gifts.
So what's interesting about that?
When we're millionaires.
I'm going to Italy for my 60th birthday.
And you're going to buy me a villa? Oh my God, Doug. You're officially now in my inner circle. You're on the periphery.
Okay, so here's what I want to say. I want to say, always pay attention. And so, one of the issues about, if they didn't like something, like the watch example that we gave before, pay attention. Listen to their complaints about things. Listen to what it is that did not go well. Listen to what it is that they say. And again, I'm one of those people that, because I am detail-oriented, if somebody says I want to go kayaking, I write down kayak, if they don't have a kayak. If somebody references a villa in Tuscany, I write down villa in Tuscany.
You know what? I'm going to start doing that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, just reference things. It's going to happen.
But the problem when you are not neurotypical is I don't even know how to start a system like that. Is that a notebook? It sounds like you literally have a file cabinet.
Yeah, so on my phone, there's a thing called Notes.
Oh, don't give me that.
I've got, by the way, I've got, what food my kids like.
What?
I've got the name of the guy down the street who works at the coffee shop who we think is really cute. I've got his name in here.
Oh, he is really
There's
cute.
a server at Bolvino in St. Paul that I think is ridiculously cute. I don't want to forget his name.
What? That is so...
Creepy? Is it creepy?
Well...
It's not.
You know what? This is what it might be. That what I'm realizing is that people who are thoughtful... have a list.
I have lists. Because
thoughtfulness lists.
Because I do not want to remember later on. I want to have it all down.
I didn't even know that was an option.
I can teach you, just like your taxes
I was
that you have to review as well.
Years old when I learned that.
I never say that phrase, but it's kind of clever, I guess.
It's what the youth say nowadays.
But I don't know that the youth say that, but we'll figure that out.
I think they said it when they were young, and now they're all old.
Yeah, they're like, that's lame, and especially when their parents start saying it, they're like, no, don't say the word woke ever again.
Right.
Yeah. So here's the deal, like pay attention and listen to complaints and listen to feedback and listen to what they say about other gifts they've gotten, and we're focusing a little bit on gifts, but all of this stuff, it transfers to every part of a relationship. So
just be thoughtful. Guess what the next one is that you stole from me? So it's
what
going
is
to be
it?
Really short.
Tell me.
Make a list and plan ahead.
Do you want to see my notes?
Dummy. That's what it says. It literally is like, make a list and plan ahead,
Yep.
you ADHD loser.
I did say that.
So this is what it says. Oh my God, listen to this. I feel so offended. A good gift giver writes down the name of every person he or she or they wants to give a present
Yep.
to, and they keep this list somewhere and they refer to it often, and then they set up a calendar to remind them of like when to buy the gift. I literally can't believe it. I can't believe that neurotypical people who call themselves thoughtful have had this secret in their back pocket. No one has ever shared this with me.
All you needed to do was ask me.
It kind of makes me hate you a little bit.
Well, it's okay if hate is really love, which
It
can be a
is.
little borderline-y in this relationship
Oh,
of ours.
come on with the borderline.
So I have
I'm
done
having
this forever.
insomnia.
Like it makes
I'm
my Christmas.
salty.
And so when the Christmas lists come out from and my co-parent, their mother and myself, we get the list. We say, what do you want to buy? What do I want to buy? And we always know what's going to sell out quick.
Wow.
Like my older daughter likes the BTS group. And so there was a thing called Proof. And it sold out really quickly.
That's cute.
But I got it for them, right?
That's
and
really cute.
when things like all the game consoles came out over the years or whatever it might be, I was willing to pay anything to make that Christmas morning a good thing. So they have probably all of them.
That's very sweet.
Now I'm not so sure. Like succumb to intuitive versus impulsive buys. That just really kind of goes along the lines with what we've talked about in terms of being thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like if you see something and you're like, oh, this microphone, I think they would really like this microphone.
Like, do you know what a really good example is of how wonderful
microphone.
I am?
Yep.
The Jennifer Coolidge
Ooh, candle thing. You got me.
Catholic Mexican prayer candle. Nailed it.
It nailed
Thank
it.
you. I
It's
just
on my
wanted some.
desk, and I had one client look at it like, "Are you into those Catholic candles?"
And you're like, it's
And they're
Jennifer
like, "Oh,
Coolidge.
that's Jennifer Coolidge." Mm-hmm. Which I love you, Jennifer.
Ah, me
Please
too.
be on the podcast.
Oh, wait, oh my God.
I know.
Don't
Oh my
tease
God.
us,
Love
Jennifer.
her so much.
Don't tease us. Yeah, we love her.
White
So, yeah.
Lotus.
Maybe
Okay.
it's just like exactly what you said. Be thoughtful. So like if you have ADHD or you're not that thoughtful or you don't have a lot of empathy or whatever it is, because it all looks the same even though it's not,
Yep.
then in order to be intuitive
Yep.
and not impulsive, you
Yep.
do need to give yourself some runway.
Yeah. You know,
You can't just like
I know.
be like, oh shit, it's tomorrow. Let me go. Remember me for that Valentine's Day? And
You and I went to sushi and
God,
had
and
some
we had like
drinks
3 cocktails, and then we like walked in the dead of winter to
to the downtown Minneapolis Target, and you're like, there's one chocolate piece left and a balloon.
fail, big fail.
And then I think it deflated because it was cold outside.
And like one blew away and one shriveled up. And
Yeah,
it
that was a
like,
really big win
bad.
for you. Yep.
Ugh.
Boy, I see you're kind of traumatized by that.
I
see
was,
you're
well, because,
dissociative.
but it is like, that's how I accidentally show up sometimes.
If I'd have known you then as I know you now, I knew you really well, but that's when we were meeting like every several months.
That's right.
And now, because we talk every day, I would be able to say, Talia, remember,
Like, what are you doing?
what are you doing? And do not buy me a balloon ever,
That's right.
because I will toss it in the trash. I want to make one.
Never? Is there an exception to that rule?
Yeah, I think if it's like a,
Shaped like a...
what are you thinking?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you thinking a penis?
How did you know?
Because you are dirty today.
I am. You know what? It's like the lack of sleep. I think all of my inhibitions
Which I'm not trying to
are
shame.
gone.
I'm all good on it. What's that? Yeah?
Was that sexual harassment?
No. I've had plenty of that.
Friends, this was our 50th 50 and fabulous 50 episodes today, and I do feel like, oh my God, don't you feel like we're so much more comfortable than we were day one?
So it's interesting. I have a friend that I just actually met recently, and he's like, what podcast do you do? And he said, I'm going to start from the beginning. I just subscribed. I am so flattered by that. What a lovely person, right?
Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and
I don't understand.
maybe
Yeah. So he subscribed right away and he goes,
Spotify.
I'm going to start from the beginning. And I said, those early ones are rough, which everyone who has given us feedback about this podcast says, please leave those on there because it shows kind of where you've developed and where you started and where you've come. And so I will tell you, I sincerely do not remember I'm even on the camera at this point. And this was really nerve-wracking initially. And so, yeah, and we've just now kind of gotten back in the same room. And I looked at you almost all of the time.
It was the best.
I know.
My emotional needs are met. I feel seen and
Can I make one more comment, though, to finish up what we were talking about? I'm going to, and it's about ADHD. We're kind of joking a little bit about managing that, but it's a fairly serious thing. And it does require a thoughtful kind of game plan to manage that inattentiveness or that difficulty with decision making or, focus. And so I have helped a number of clients, and that's really what that work is. Not only does medication help, but I also want to say that I think developing those strategies, like using your notes on a consistent basis.
It's a game changer. And I will also say that I really like the idea that, of course it's not our fault, but it's our responsibility. Everything. That's right. Whatever wiring you were born with or whatever, wherever you are, come as you are. And it's an explanation, not an excuse. But for any partner of somebody who might have ADHD, you are probably thinking that they don't love you, they don't care about you, they're self-centered, they don't remember what you've told them or what you've asked for, or whether they, asked them to pick up something at the store and they forgot. Right. And I will say 90% of the time, if they have ADHD, it is never because they don't love you and don't want to please you. So you do have to get some education around that and have some conversations. Like my husband had to have conversations with me before I was diagnosed at the age of 45 and now medicated and changed my life. But he used to have to tell me that it made him feel unloved and uncared for, that he would ask me to do things and I would forget because he would think I would forget because he's not that important to me.
If you are neurotypical versus neurodivergent, it's a very strange world to understand.
Right.
Like oftentimes even in this podcast situation, you'll ask me the same question a couple times during the week. I'm like, I already told her, but I will tell her again.
Oh, interesting.
And I just kind of ignore it at this point. And then yesterday when we were having our conversation and you were like, I think we should just do this. And I'm like, is this what speaking? I have to kind of, but I was able to tell you, but I was able to ask, I'm not sure which Talia I'm dealing with right now.
You did. It was tired and salty.
I know. And so I kind of knew
as I said in the last episode, battling some middle-aged insomnia issues, but I'm on it.
I don't love that.
I'm on it.
I know.
Not my fault, but it's my responsibility.
That's correct.
So, you got to just take care of yourself. Let's plug.
Okay.
We'renotfine.com.
Yep.
That's where my gorgeous merch is from. It's kind of cute. Hugs the snugs, and it's really good quality. Find us online on Instagram.
That's an interesting tone of voice.
Dr. Talia Jackson.
Douglas L. Jensen, Jensen. I think we also are getting a TikTok.
You guys, we're getting a TikTok. We're doing it. I don't know when or how, but it is happening.
We don't have any on there yet?
I don't think so, but it's in the works. Our beautiful team is figuring this out, and we're super excited, and they're just going to tell us what to do, and we're going to do it.
I really want to say thank you to everybody who has watched all 50. Not that that's necessary, but so many of you have been keeping up to date from the very beginning of this podcast. We are so flattered and so humbled by your support, and we so gratefully appreciate you continuing to listen.
Do we need to send prizes to people that have listened to all 50?
No.
We're just going to tell you
that's
we
chaos.
love you.
Thank you so much
for
your support.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you then.